by doing seed work here, we're able to research and adapt and select and breed plants that will do better here.
When you say that these are being cultivated to be able to survive in this ecosystem, in this environment, what do you mean by that?
I'm working on a particular farm in Central Virginia, particular soils. So what the work that I'm doing is going to be best adapted to this farm, this region, but I found that it also has a lot of relevance to a much broader region, Piedmont, Virginia, much of the state of Virginia, and actually much of the South, because most seed companies are not operating in the South at all.
No.
So even work that we're doing in Virginia here has been really useful even for growers as far south as Florida.
And these crops are beautiful. Can you tell me about them?
Yeah, so I put a lot of focus into having crops that will really do well in this season when there's a lot of disease pressure. And so we've got cucumbers, we've got melons, we've got squash that I've been doing research with and breeding work with so that they will do well this time of year.
Well, I have to share you that my cucumbers are just toast from, powdery mildew has just totally, completely destroyed them. So to see beautiful leaves on yours.
So a lot of it is research. I just tried a lot of stuff. I started doing variety trials in 2014. I had a grant from the USDA to do a variety trial of cucumbers and melons and squash, and it's kind of how I got started. Downy mildew was really the disease that I had been running into so much trouble with. It was making my crops melt down this time of year, so I wanted to find stuff that would do well with that. And so I had about 50 varieties of cucumbers, and I grew them all and took notes on how the foliage looked and, recorded all the harvests and really was able to come up with good information about what did well. And then from there, I took some of the best varieties I found and started crossing them together and then selecting out of those populations.
Tell me about pollinating a cucumber, because those flowers are pretty small, Edmund.
So cucumbers are actually pretty easy to hand pollinate because they're separate male and female flowers. So you can just take male flowers from one plant and bring it to the female flower on another plant and put the pollen from the male flowers on the female flowers. But the thing about it is you want the bees to not interfere with it.
I was going to say, how do you keep the insects out?
Yeah, what I do is I go out the evening before and I tape the flowers shut with masking tape, and then the next morning I'll take the tape off and do the pollination and then tape the female flower back up.
Ah, so it's nice and secure. And then what are you watching for as the plant grows on? I mean, you've got the pollination, the harvesting of the seed, I guess, is the next project. How do you do that?
Yeah, so there's a lot of elements, when I'm making the cross between the two parents that I want, that's 1 year. And then the next year you need to grow out that cross. And then it's not until the following year that you have a diverse population from that cross that you can really select from. And at that point, I'm looking for the plants that just do well, that produce a lot of cucumbers, that taste good, that have fruit that's the kind of shape that I want. So I'm looking for all those things when I do breeding trials.
How do you position your crops so that they don't cross-pollinate each other and kind of foil your pollination efforts?
I'm growing cucumber crops in like 5 different locations right now. And you have to isolate them so they don't cross with each other. About a quarter mile, maybe a little less if you have forest in between. So that's something that I really think about a lot when I do the layout of my gardens.
So what is the process of harvesting these cucumber seeds? You just don't pluck them in when they're about 8 inches long, do you?
Right, so you get to the edible stage of cucumber, and then you just leave it on the plant for several more weeks, and usually they turn yellow. Sometimes they'll turn brown, like even russet brown, some of them. And you really kind of leave it on the plant for as long as you can, because that facilitates the seed development.
Okay.
The plant is feeding that seed development. And then eventually, the plants will be dying back, and some of the fruits might be starting to rot a little bit, and that's when you go in and cut them open, scoop the seeds out, and do the seed processing.
It is part of the cucurbic family, the cucumbers, but what other crops do you grow in that family?
So I do a lot of work with winter squash, especially butternuts. That was another crop that early on I had noticed that we had a really hard time with during the late season, late summer. Had several crop failures of things that just were dying from downy mildew this time of year. And so I do a lot of research and breeding and seed production work with butternuts and also with other kinds of winter squashes. I have a project to breed a kabocha squash that will...
really? That sounds interesting.
That will resist vine borers.
Oh, wow.
That's the goal with that one.
That one really will grab the attention of many people as we all battle with those borers throughout the growing season. So I'm very curious to hear how that's coming along, as well as the mildew resistance. It's got my eye too, I'll be honest with you.
Cool.
So it's exciting to hear the work that you're doing here. So people don't realize, where are the seeds that they're purchasing from big box stores and other places? Where are they coming from?
Most seeds that people buy are grown overseas or maybe out west, often in places that have a drier climate. For instance, you can just grow pole beans on the ground and harvest them with a combine. You don't have to, go through and pick all the beans. But then you end up with pole bean varieties that aren't well adapted to the Southeast. So doing the work in the Southeast for the Southeast is just really important. I hate seeing beginner gardeners that are trying to grow things that just don't grow well here.
Yes, and then they give up.
Yeah.
And it's not their fault.
Yeah.
It's just bringing in a plant that's really not suited for this environment. Yeah. Is there anything else that you want to share with us about your work here?
I would love to see most farmers and gardeners saving seeds and adapting seeds and doing some research and breeding work. So I really encourage that.
There are some short-term benefits to just saving your best selections and replanting them year after year. That's exciting.
You're saving seeds from tomatoes, and every year you select stock seed from the plants that have the least cracking of that variety that you like.
Yes.
And eventually you'll have it'll be the same variety, but it'll be more resistant to cracking. Mm-hmm. And I did that with a variety recently, and after just 3 years, it was really much improved.
Well, this is great information, and I think you've inspired some of us to go out and try to start looking at our fruits and vegetables a little bit differently. And I thank you so much for having us, Edmund.
Thank you guys for coming. I love talking about seeds and spreading the word. It's really fun and fruitful.